welcome in the kitchen of the Cilento to present the program, The Recipes of the Mediterranean Diet. Here at my side we have Antonio Cedrola, a home cook. Antonio, what are we going to cook this evening?
This evening we will prepare a recipe that's not part of the classical tradition of the Cilento. This is a gift that some producers of the Cilento wish to offer to Princess Kate of England, which has always shown particular attention to the typical products of our Cilento.
Okay, which will be the ingredients of the recipe and the name of the recipe?
This is a new recipe. I presume it's the first time prepared. It's named an appetizer of beans of Casalbuono, with white artichokes of Pertosa and goat cheese of the Cilento Vallo di Diano. Let's say that it contains a little bit of all the ingredients of the traditions of our culinary here in the Cilento. The ingredients that we will use are 200 grams of white beans from Casalbuono
that are here soaked,
200 grams of artichokes, then in order goat cheese from the Cilento and Vallo di Diano, dried sweet peppers, which are commonly called crusco in southern Italy, then sea salt, parsley, garlic, extra virgin olive oil, strictly DOC of the Cilento, black pepper, and here I allowed myself to make a small variation from the original recipe that asks for balsamic vinegar of Aglianico grape juice that I homemade last year in order to have all ingredients of the Cilento.
Well, before proceeding with the preparation of the dish, we will show you the two tabs on the country's national park in the Cilento. Vallo di Diano, that is the home of the artichokes and the beans, or of Pertosa and Casalbuono. Thanks to direction for the video contribution for these wonderful landscapes. And now, Antonio, we can proceed with the recipe.
Well, then first of all, last night we had the beans soaked for about 10-12 hours. That now we are going to drain and boil.
Can we repeat how many hours beans need to soak?
These beans here have been soaked for about 10 hours, which is more than enough. Now let's start with cold water to boil the beans, only and exclusively water without salt and scents.
This to make them become soft.
Yes, for them to cook and boil. And this is a particular part of this recipe, because normally you can add the celery and other scents.
For how long do they have to boil?
From now covering the pot, it will take half an hour. In the meantime, we will do something else.
Okay.
Let's prepare the artichokes. I have already one prepared. In this case, I will cut it short, but remember that the stem of the artichoke is absolutely delicious to use in the kitchen. But I will not use it now, I will use it in another preparation. I'll clean the artichoke to remove the hard leaves, because in this recipe it is served raw. So we must say that the white artichoke of Pertosa is suitable in this recipe because of its organoleptic tenderness. I will quickly clean the stem.
It's also very resistant at low
Yes,
temperatures.
it is very resistant at low temperatures.
So then, it goes well with baked beans.
There you go. I will bring it to the thinnest possible. I'm using a ceramic knife so not to darken the artichoke. Okay, that's more than enough that we need to use here, and that we are going to soak in Cedrola water. That is water with lemon, not to darken out the artichoke.
How long will you keep the artichoke to soak?
We can leave it soak until we need it.
To shorten the time, we have previously prepared the cooked beans that I'll pass to Antonio. Here they are.
Here we are.
Here are the boiled beans. Okay, we can proceed.
Okay, so we can pass to the next phase. We will stir fry the beans using the classic fry of the Cilento. In a pan we put extra virgin olive oil, olives that come from our hills in the Cilento.
Let's specify.
A clove of garlic.
Poached.
Yes, a clove of garlic, poached. Using poached becomes difficult for it to burn and releases a pleasant smell. We make it fry slowly, then we give a little flame for the temperature to rise. Now we go to the next phase. In addition to garlic, we will also use parsley. When we use parsley in high temperatures, it's best to use the stems and never the leaves, for two reasons. Because the leaf has a small amount of liquid and will burn immediately. The other reason, when it gets dark, it will have a bad bitter taste and not so nice to look at.
I didn't know this. I've learned something this evening.
This is a gold rule in the kitchen. I'm going to use the stems, and in the meantime I'll prepare the parsley that I will need after. You know, sometimes talking while you cook is not the best thing to do. It is a very simple recipe regarding the ingredients. Excuse me for the sizzles.
We can say that from the nutritional point of view, it's full of vitamins A, B, C, E, iron and proteins.
Now we will lightly fry the beans with the garlic and then use the Crisco pepper that was already dried, but I did further drying on it using the oven at a low temperature around 60 degrees for quite a bit of time. Then I will bring it on the mortar and crush it. I don't know if you have noticed the classic mortar made from olive wood, typical of the Cilento tradition. I reduced it into powder. To bring myself ahead, I had already sieved some powder. Okay, so when it's almost cooked, we put in the powder and cook for 2 minutes.
Just to make it tasty with the garlic.
Yes, this is the water I used before to boil the beans and which I got the cream.
That the beans take out.
Yes, when you boil the beans, this cream comes out, which is useful to use to combine a protein vegetable concentrate, and it would be a pity not to use it. From an organoleptic point of view, it is fundamental to use another bit of liquid, let it go for a few minutes, and at this point we put in our powder, pepper Crisco, that gives flavor and color because it's a sweet paprika.
It's not chili pepper. Let's explain that.
No, it's not chili pepper. There are various types of Crisco, hot, spicy and sweet. This one is sweet.
That just gives flavor.
Yes, alone it gives flavor and color. I think here we can use it all.
It's so inviting.
Consider that this dish has been planned as an appetizer, for which the quantities used are relatively small. We finish cooking and remove the garlic, which has already done its job.
Now we have the salt.
Then off heat, we adjust the salt because we didn't use salt when we boiled the beans. A handful of pepper, especially for the scent, and we will use a small amount in honor of the princess that is pregnant.
Black pepper.
Yes, black pepper, even though the original recipe preferred white pepper, but the black pepper gives a higher gear as perfume and flavor, and also plenty of parsley.
Fresh parsley?
Yes, fresh. At this point we mix.
And we can place on the plate.
We are ready to place on the plate. There we go. If you can pass me that bowl. Let's drain
the artichokes.
The artichokes.
That were previously placed in water with lemon, right?
Yes, in a Cedrola water.
To drain.
Not to darken the artichoke. Then we will place it on the plate in this way. In the center we will put the beans. Not exaggerating too much because it's an appetizer. Then we will place the artichokes if we can find nicer ones.
A royal recipe.
Yes.
It looks like a crown.
Sure. Always in honor of the princess. We will use a bit of salt on the artichokes, which are not salted.
Meanwhile, I'll take what you have kept for the princess.
That is a polite personal gift for the princess. Now we will grate the goat cheese.
You can also use a cheese grater.
Yes, you can use a cheese grater whichever way you want.
We can indulge.
It is important to recover some scales that we are going to lay carefully on the plate. The goat cheese is very important because it gives the contrast of salinity and spices. A flavor quite strong.
And this is a typical product of the Mediterranean diet.
This goat cheese comes from a small town of the Cilento called Giungano, where you can find an excellent production of goat cheese. Let's give it a sprinkle of chopped parsley.
Okay, so now let's add...
Now we'll add the reduction of Aglianico grape juice, like this.
It's also for a decoration.
Yes, it's to decorate and also to play with, sweet and salty. And finally, a personal tribute for the princess, one of my edible roes, which I also enjoy cooking with edible flowers. Sprinkle of black pepper just to soil the plate. So, this is a sprinkle of black pepper just to soil the plate.
A good splash of our raw olive oil in a perfect recipe.
So, this is my interpretation of this dish dedicated to Princess Kate. The name of the dish is a sour appetizer with beans from Casalbuono, white artichokes from Pertosa, and goat cheese of the Cilento Vallo di Diano.
The wine we recommend to combine with our food is a red wine EGP of Castel San Lorenzo. We thank you for following our kitchen and we'll see you again for another recipe on the Mediterranean diet.